Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. This is Rusty and Heather Bryant. Summer Shorts. We are still answering your questions. We have maybe 3 or 4 more weeks of this, I guess. I don't really know. I lose track of...
I highlighted like 6 questions.
Yeah, but we're trying to figure out an effective way to continue answering questions even after our summer shorts are over. We could go into August with this because a lot of people still have summer in August. You're the only one that doesn't have summer past the middle of July.
I go back to school a week when people are listening to this, if they listen to it the day it comes out. I will be in school 1 week from this day.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. The summer is so weird, which I'm really glad we're answering these questions, and they're not questions that are real. I've said it before, they're evergreen, where you can go back and listen to these at any time because they're not specific to anything that's going on. Like,
really, the only ones we've done like that are the Christmas movies.
Yeah, I guess.
That was fun.
Yeah. I mean, you can go back and listen to all of these at any time, but summer is crazy for podcasting because people, they're not in a regular rhythm. A lot of people are not in regular rhythms. So you just never know. Some weeks, I told you, though, the one with our boys was going to be the most downloaded ever, and it was. But
I still have people. I had somebody text me yesterday and message me today about that podcast.
Yep. So go back and listen if you haven't already. Were you spitting over there? What were you doing?
No, I'm drinking coffee. For those of you who are not,
those people can see you.
It's fine. I'm slurping quietly.
Okay. Yeah, we're doing this out of a little bit out of rhythm for us because Heather's leaving tomorrow.
Yeah, I am, just for a few days.
For a few days, and then that's usually when that's what you were doing.
I was clearing my throat.
You were clearing your throat. It looked like you were leaning back there going, I'm going to spit something out.
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah. Okay, so summer shorts. This one might actually be short. I'm not making any promises.
That's right.
Because we're really, really bad at that.
So you put me in charge of coming up with some choosing these questions to narrow it down for you because we have a lot of them. And as you said, this is your busy time. And so I went through and I starred in our email list about 6 of them that I thought were really good. And I kind of gave you the high points for those. So anyway, you happen to choose one that is from right here. Oh, wait, no, that's not what I was going to say. I'm going to say that in a minute. What I was going to say is, as I was reading through them today, somebody actually wrote, here is my summer short, and then put doot, 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 doot in the parentheses.
Well, you better sing it.
I was like,
sing the jingle.
Summer shorts, doot, 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 summer short. It's just not near as fun as your hello, folks, that you do. It's fine.
People don't really react to that. Maybe they're just so used to it. Maybe I need to come up with a new one. And it's not mine. It wasn't new. It's a shout out to my favorite comedian.
And then at the end, we've kind of gone with a shout out to our favorite pastor.
And there you go. We're just a bunch of copycats.
Yeah, we are.
We're not very original.
Hey, every good idea is stolen. It's what I've always been told. Okay, so what I was going to say is that today's question actually comes from right here in Clinton.
Clinton,
Which,
Mississippi.
I'm just going to go ahead and say, on our live drawing, if we draw somebody from Clinton, Mississippi, that's just going to be a freebie, and we'll draw again.
Yeah.
Because that's silly.
Yep. Yeah.
But we could still go to dinner with these people because it's from right here. I read it, and I was like, hey, here in Clinton.
Right here.
Okay, so it's not a long question, but it has some important things in it that I don't want to leave out. So I'm just going to read the whole question. Okay.
So you're making this not a summer short.
No, it's not that long. Just stay with me. Okay. All right. You ready? Here's the question. The title is Sleeping in Separate Bedrooms with lots of question marks. This has been on our minds for a while. We have been sleeping in separate bedrooms for a while now, as I have restless legs, the writer of this. and I have a hard time going to sleep with this. I also try my best to start out in our bedroom, but most of the time I just get restless and cannot seem to go to sleep, and this aggravates me like crazy. I sometimes lay there for an hour or more. I want us both to get our best sleep, so I just tend to go sleep in the other bedroom. I want to stay by my wife all night. I don't want this to become a habit, but it has evolved into one. Will this lead to problems down the road? It does not mean I don't love her. I just want us both to sleep well. I trust she is not talking to anyone after I leave, nor am I doing that either. We both understand that. What can we do? Is this healthy or not? I know older couples have been doing this for years and seem to be happily married. Where do we go from here? So I know that's not our typical pain and triggers and how do we get through this type of question. Sorry for my video people. I had a hair stuck to my lipstick, but
you're just picking hair and spitting.
I had a hair stuck in my lip gloss. It was bothering me. But I do think that it's important because I happen to know that my parents tend to sleep in different bedrooms a lot. Like they will try to go to sleep in the same room. You know, my dad will get coughing or hot or whatever, or my mom gets hot, so my dad goes into the other room. And so I know that there's not, I mean, I don't think that this is an unusual question.
Well, I think, there may be people out there that are thinking that doesn't really apply to me. Which it doesn't apply to us. We never sleep in different bedrooms. But I think what I like about this question is that this listener is thinking about things that could become problems, like small things. And so I think that there's people that are out there listening that maybe this is not an issue, but you can think of things that might seem a little bit trivial, but maybe you've thought, I wonder if that's something that's going to come back to haunt us at some point. And so maybe you can apply some of what we're going to talk about to a situation that's maybe different, but, something that just, it may seem like a small thing, but you're afraid it could grow into something that's more of a problem.
Yeah, I think the biggest concern here for this listener is that he doesn't want to cause anything to be a wedge between he and his wife. And like you said, that could be sleeping in separate beds, or it could be something else that people deal with that, I mean, like, I just think about, this is so dumb, but I think about people who maybe have different diets, like as far as what they eat for dinner. And all of a sudden the man's eating one thing and the woman's eating something else at different times, prepared different, and they miss out on family dinners together. I mean, like, that's a silly example, but I think they're little things that are important to marriages and spending time together, that if you just go, oh, that's not a big deal, and then you have several of those, it's not a big deal, and all of a sudden it becomes a problem.
Well, I was just trying to think of some other things, and one would be even like a lot of people ask about going to bed at different times. That could be something that is similar to this. I mean, even this is very different, but it's still one of those trivial things like wearing your wedding ring. So there's just things like that.
What about watching different TV shows? Like, I'm going in my room to watch this. You stay in the den to watch this because we don't like the same type shows.
Yep. So just think through things like that as we're talking about this. But let's answer this person's direct question. Do you want to start?
Oh, I don't care. I don't care.
Well, I think that one of the smart things to do would be to point out the dangers first, which he already actually pointed out some of the dangers, and then maybe the pointing out the dangers, but then also pointing out, well, what are the things that you could maybe give and take a little bit, and then ultimately does the ultimate answer become you should stay in the same bed or it's okay to go to so I think the dangers, there are some dangers, so maybe we could just spitball some of the dangers. He mentioned there's no fear of her talking to somebody else or him talking to somebody else. And I do think that that's not necessarily even just the talking to somebody else. I think that there could become this danger of, oh, well, I'm restless and not sleeping, so I'm going to go in here to another bedroom, and, then you just start playing on your phone, and not that, I mean, maybe it doesn't even lead to anything bad or looking at things that you shouldn't look at or talking to people. Maybe it's not even that, but it's just you're restless, so you go somewhere else, and because your wife's not there or your husband's not there, you just kind of start scrolling and wasting time, and then you don't sleep. You get no sleep. And your whole problem was you left the bedroom because you were restless. And so then that just kind of snowballs into the next morning. You're like grumpy and you're not getting rest. So there are those dangers where I think it becomes, I'm going to leave this bedroom, but I'm going to go somewhere else and watch TV or read or, play on my phone or whatever. And that's where I think there could be a slippery slope of danger.
And I do think there's a certain accountability being in bed with your spouse that, I mean, you're not going to look at something or, even it's something innocent, like just wasting time.
Right. That's what
it doesn't have to just lead to something else. But just wasting time, and not getting the rest that you left the room to try to get.
Yep.
Or you didn't want to disturb them. So I think that's a danger. I also think that a danger is missing out on quality, intimate, and I don't even just mean sex. I mean just intimate being, that quality time of just being together. I think you miss out on that if you start off in separate beds.
Yeah, and he mentioned that he tries to start off in bed, and then usually something, he's restless or what for whatever reason he ends up moving at some point. And there is this disconnect that can happen there. I mean, a great example of this is we try our best to go to bed together. And we usually read. We don't go to sleep at the same time. I mean, I'm exhausted
During the summer,
especially
you
during
read
summer.
for like 2 pages.
I do. I read. We try to read at night before we go to sleep, and I will read like nothing, and I don't remember any of it. And that's why you're always like, "Hey, did you like that book you read?" I have no idea. I don't even know what I read.
It just made me go to sleep.
Yeah, and so I try to read fiction before I go to sleep because that's just the easiest way for me to fall asleep. So anyway. I will always just, hey, good night, love you, roll over, I am going to sleep. But where the connection continues throughout the night is even last night, I woke up at some point and I was like, I hadn't really heard her breathing and stuff. And so you just get to reach out and feel your breath and feel you breathing up and down and your body moving. And then I'm like, oh, okay, we're good. But I mean, that happened last night. I was like, okay, she's not dead, so we'll move on. But I do think that's just a connection. And if you're not in the same bed, that obviously doesn't happen. So yeah, those are a few things that I thought of that could just be dangers that to be aware of. The great thing is that he mentioned that, and he said, so the compromises, and we don't like the word compromise, but maybe the give and take a little bit is let's start off in the same bed together. Like I thought of one more danger, and I meant to mention this. One danger is if you have children, that could be a little bit tough.
Yeah.
Because if your children see you sleeping in different beds, then there's some questions probably that come up.
Right.
And so you would have to navigate that situation. Because, I mean, you may think, oh, well, we wake up before our kids. But you also may have kids that walk into your bedroom during the night, and they're like, wait, why are y'all sleeping in different beds? And so,
or on the couch or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. And, you can obviously explain it and say, well, I was having trouble sleeping, whatever. I was restless, and so I came and got into another room so we could sleep better. And most kids are going to be fine with that. But you just need to be aware if it's something that's ongoing and it happens all the time, they may question, why are mommy and daddy not sleeping together? And you're also, I think that everybody would say, in a perfect world, we would love to sleep together.
Sure.
I mean, in a perfect world, everybody would be like, oh, I wish that I never even got hot. I wish we could cuddle and sleep together.
Yeah.
But that's just not reality. But you're also teaching your children, if you have children, and if they just see mom and dad sleeping in different bedrooms the whole time they're growing up, then that may be what they think.
Right.
And
Right.
you probably are like, man, I hope my kids sleep with their spouse every night. So
Well, and I can remember back to when my parents first started saying that they or I noticed that dad would come out of the back bedroom, and it wasn't a lot when I was young.
Right.
This has been like older. And even like my sister and her husband were building a house, and they had a few months left to build their house. And so their family stayed with my parents. And I can remember my dad go, oh no,
where am I going to sleep?
I've lost my extra
Somebody
bedroom.
stole my bedroom.
Exactly. And so so there's been conversations and talks about that. And I can remember just thinking, and I was older and mature, just thinking, oh, I wonder if that's really why they sleep in different beds. Like it's just, are they just saying that, or is there a problem? And it genuinely
Right.
is. But I had to process through that even as a little bit older that, because we don't have trouble sleeping in the same bed, then it was foreign to me that somebody else would.
Yep.
And so I just kind of had to process through that. But on the other side of this, I think that there is very valid reasons for getting up, because if somebody was really restless and tossing and turning like he's saying he is because of his restless legs and things like that, I would be like, oh my gosh, get out so I can sleep.
Yeah, coughing.
Yeah, if you're sick or whatever, like I get it. I get that's a problem. And so I think that there's reality to this. Do you remember the I Love Lucy show?
Yeah.
And she and what's his name? Danny?
No, Ricky.
Ricky. Yeah, Danny.
Ricardo.
Yeah. They slept in separate twin beds because of the
camera.
times.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't be in the same bed.
Yeah.
With somebody. And so I think but they were in the same room.
Twin bed.
Just
Hey,
twin
maybe
beds.
that's the answer. Get a couple of twin beds. Put them in the same room. Hey, good night, babe.
I'll wave at you on the other side. They do make those mattresses that are split.
Yeah.
That one comes up and, you can sorry. You could,
but that's some of those
possible.
things to think about. Just if it's one of those things that you or your spouse just feels a little uncomfortable about,
There are ways.
then let's try to figure out something. So maybe it's just we're going to start in the same bed together. We're going to make sure that if we're watching TV together, that we're doing that in the same bed. If we're reading to fall asleep, and then of course the intimacy part of it and just being connected as you're going to sleep. And maybe it's one of those things that it's not an every night thing, where you're laying there in bed and then, oh, okay, well, it's time to go to bed. I'm going to my room now.
Yeah.
I don't, that there might just be a part of that just feels a little, oh man, is this the way it was supposed to be?
Right.
But so like Heather was saying, maybe it's the mattress, maybe you just try different things. Like, how can we fix this situation? Have you thought of any other like ways to give and take a little bit?
Well, I mean, my solution, what I would say if it was just me telling what I would do, I would definitely say try different things like the mattresses. I'm not sure twin beds is the answer.
No, heavens no.
But the
It
mattress
is kind of funny though.
Yeah, but the mattress I think is okay. And then also, if it doesn't work, I just think it's important to protect the time that going to bed, whether you lay in bed together and watch TV, whether you read together, whether you read your little devotion together, or, talk about your day, of course, the intimacy part of that, all of those things being regular and routine, going to sleep together. And then, like this person is saying, if wife goes to sleep and he's like, oh my gosh, I can't, like, I feel like I'm driving her crazy, then at that point you move and try to sleep somewhere else.
Here's where, if a couple came to us and said, hey, every night my wife goes into our bedroom, and she reads or she watches a television show that she likes, she falls asleep in there. I usually stay in the den and I watch TV because I like to watch something else, or I'm reading and don't want to disturb her. And then when it's time for me to go to sleep, because we don't sleep well in the same bed together, I just sleep on the couch or I would say that's dangerous.
Absolutely.
And so that's the extreme. And so then it's, okay, well, how can we get back to a little closer to where we're not really putting ourselves in this danger like this question is. Now, all of that to say, also, so much of marriage is communication. Like, let's just talk about this. And so, what if you have a couple and both of you are just like, we don't care. Like, we just want to sleep. One of us has to wake up early. One of us is restless. One of us gets hot, and neither one of us care.
And I think that this also happens during little bitties. Like, I'll just sleep with the kid so the kid will sleep, or I'm going to sleep in here so that I hear the baby better. And there's seasons that is going to change. But back to what you were saying. Sorry.
Yeah. So are you saying that those are times that are okay, or are you just saying be careful?
No, I'm just saying be careful.
Yeah.
Because I get, hey, I have to be up in the morning and you get to stay home with the baby. And so I don't need to be disturbed as much. I mean, there's going to be some seasons like that.
Yep.
Short seasons.
And that's where, where I was going is just the communication. And if both of you are okay and you've talked about it, because the big danger there is where one of you says, I really want you in this bed, and it makes me uncomfortable, and I feel disconnected when you're sleeping somewhere else. And then that's where you need to really work on. I mean, even to the point of seeing your doctor about it, if there's some sort of a sleep problem, because doctors can help with that kind of stuff. What is it that's causing you to not be able to sleep at night? All of that. But going back to both of you are okay, you've communicated, then it becomes, all right, well, we don't want this to get to a place where it's causing a wedge, like you said at the beginning, a wedge between us. So what do we do for us? Me and you, we're both okay with it, but we want to look for the red flags, and we want to be proactive, and so we want to make any decisions and changes and adjustments so that we both recognize this could be something that would cause a problem.
Because the sleeping, if you do it like that, you're roommates.
That's right.
And you just don't want the rest of your marriage to follow in those steps. Like, I think about Luke, our oldest one. He's in a brand new house in Oregon State, and he has like 6 roommates. Well, they're all out in the den watching soccer and cooking together and doing all that, and then they're roommates, so they all go to their rooms and go to sleep. And that's just the definition of their friendships, is it's just roommates. But you don't want your marriage to become that. So it just needs to be being purposeful in the other areas, if that's what you decide to do.
So I think the bottom line of this is that the way that this question was worded, I don't think either one of us would have a real problem with how this couple is handling it. For me, the most encouraging thing is that they recognize that it could become an issue, and so they're trying to get out ahead of that by addressing the things, and also doing some things that allow them to. It's the give and take.
That's right.
The making sure that they're staying connected in other ways, but yet, for their sanity and for sleep purposes, sometimes it requires getting in another room.
Yep.
So
Yep. I hope that helped. And if sleeping in different beds isn't your issue, like it's not ours, there's other areas that you can apply this to as well. Just being purposeful in the time that you do have together.
yeah. All right, so I hope that helped. We're going to do several more weeks of this before we do our grand prize drawing. So go to our website and make sure that you click on that Ask link under our contact, and you can just submit your question. That also puts you into the drawing for the grand prize, which is a double date with us in your hometown. And we will come and visit you and go on a date with you if we draw your name. And we're looking forward to that. So, hey, thanks for listening. And if you get a chance, we would love for you to rate and review our podcast on the platform that you listen to us on. That would be very helpful, and more people will be able to listen and get exposed to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. So thanks so much. We'll see you next week.